Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the May 19th, 1997 edition of Raw is War, and the match card is as follows. We had Hunter Hearst Helmsley taking on Crush in a King of the Ring first round match. We had Bob Holly taking on Owen Hart. Leaf Cassidy takes on the debuting Scott Taylor. Rockabilly takes on Goldust. Farouk versus Rocky Maivia. And in our main event, we had Steve Austin versus Jim the Anvil Neidhart. All right. All right. First, how you doing? How you doing this week? Kelsey, I will give you all a pre-warning. Lost her voice this past weekend.
Again.
And is pushing through today. So
Yeah.
we're gonna give her all kinds of grace for pushing through.
I mean, right at this point, first of all, I want to point out this happened the exact same time last year. And it's during Pride Month, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I'll just say that. But
what'd you say when we were texting about this? That the gays require some kind of
I said the gays
sacrifice.
Sacrifice on some Ursula Ariel shit. They were like, and I was like, you know what? And that's fine. Please tell me to shut up. It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. But I feel like I'm at the tail end where now I kind of just sound like a jazz singer, and I'll take that. So hopefully it doesn't bother you guys.
We'll take it. We'll take it. I do want to make a quick shout out for those of you who don't know. I've had 8 bajillion jobs other than the ones I currently have where I edit a bunch of stuff. So this phase of my life's iteration new job is working at a cafe, and which is really just kind of a throwback to what I have always done in my life, which is work at cafes. But thank you. But one of my coworkers, I was explaining to him like what I do with my life and my free time, and I was just saying like I don't go out and do a lot of things. I do this is
we
what
stay
I
in
do.
And talk to ourselves.
Yeah, we stay in, we watch wrestling from 30 years ago, and I
and
spend
comment on it.
my free time working after I work. But anyway, so we were getting into the show, and I was working the next day, and I get in for the day. It's like 7 a.m. He's like, I have something for you. And I was like, me. Are you positive?
Are you
and
sure?
Sitting on the I guess like one of the dispensers for like napkins or something is this,
oh my God.
It is
I'm obsessed.
All-Star Wrestling, the Road Warriors Road to the Championship. We had like gone on like some tangent talking about the Road Warriors, but this was so nice. I was just like, this is such a departure from who I am as a person, because I would never think to do anything this nice. So shout out to B for that one.
That's so cute. And I love a VHS.
I will have to find a we're gonna have to go thrifting or something to get a VHS
you know who
player.
has one?
Who?
You know who has one? My father.
Of course your father has
My
one.
father has 2.
Oh my God.
He has one
2.
one in the family room, one in the basement, in the man cave.
No, got it.
Which is an unfinished basement with a desk. It's not even a desk and a TV.
Listen, man caves all around the world. It really, I feel like it doesn't really matter what the cave looks like. You know what I mean? I feel like anything can be a cave.
It's true.
But yeah, I thought that was just really nice. And
that's so sweet. I love that.
It has like the Road Warriors just taking on a bunch of tag teams. So like both Mr. Perfect and Mr. Perfect's father, and Sergeant Slaughter's on here.
I
know
feel like
you love
gotta
that
watch
name.
this. I do.
So very cool, very nice.
That's so sweet. I love that.
But let's get into this episode. Let's do it. So it kicks off with a recap of last week. As we know, Bret Hart lauded the secret that he was going to tell us, that he was promising all evening long, and then we finally get to the point where he's going to tell us, and he rambles on for so long that the show ends. So that's what you missed on Glee last week. Is the show ends last week with Bret yapping, and they show us what happened after Raw went off the air, which is essentially Shawn Michaels kicking Bret Hart straight in the face. The Hart Foundation desperately trying to get their hands on Shawn Michaels while he ducks and dives and loses shoes. And once they finally get their hands on him, they're beating him up the ramp. The British Bulldog has him up in like a press. Looks like he's gonna just yeet him off the top of the stage. When Stone Cold, with his handy dandy crutch, comes in and just starts swinging on the Hart Foundation. So that's where we begin, because the audience that was just watching Raw, in the time of 1997, did not get to see
Didn't
the
get to
ending
see
that
it.
we
Yeah.
saw.
Crazy.
So they had to recap it for them. But the episode starts, as far as new material goes, when with an interview from JR with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
They came
Uh,
out hot.
Oh, they came out swinging. They were
They
like,
said, bring out that angry man
they
right
said,
now.
give the people what they want. And
It's true.
yeah, honestly. So he comes out and essentially he's just like, he's asked to address his actions from last week. He's like, you know what? I would love to address my actions from last week.
So good.
First things first, I would like to make it very clear that I don't give a rat's ass about Shawn Michaels. I just love that
Love.
he cannot do anything like good, like
Right.
traditionally like babyface good,
On paper.
without it being like, oh no, that wasn't for you. Like there's always like a
Yes.
caveat
Like
to
that.
it.
My
Like
intentions were not good, even though the outcome was good.
right.
My
So
intentions were pure evil.
no, 100%. He's like, I came out to attack the Hart Foundation because I have unfinished business with them, and you just happen to be there. So let's not
Yeah.
mince words. Let's not pretend.
He was like, their backs were turned and I saw an opportunity, and that's all it was. Like, that's it.
Mhm. He said,
Left.
but while we're on the subject, Shawn Michaels should be thanking me, though, because it seemed to me like he was going to get his ass handed to him. And that's when
Mhm.
Shawn comes out in the finest little crop top I've
Stop.
ever seen. The way you
Oh,
could pluck that whole fit and just drop it in today, and it would be seamless.
it would eat.
He'd absolutely
Eat.
crush these.
Y'all, please.
The Instagram
Men.
girlies could
Men,
never.
bring this look back. Crop your tees, bring out your short shorts. I was just having a debate with someone about this, and they were like, I don't get the short shorts on men. I was like, then we are not friends. I don't know what
Right.
you're talking about. I
What
want to
is
see
not to
thigh meat
get?
out in the sunshine. It is summertime. Crop the shirt,
Thank
short in the
you.
shorts. I am ready. And
Mm,
he was wearing his jeans, and it was a crop shirt of his own
yeah,
merch. Love to see it with the cut off, like sleeves cut off, and he had a bandana on. Oh my God.
yeah. He
Serving.
absolutely serving. Which was a
Serving.
lot to like get over in and of itself before he even like came
Said
in and
any
said
said
anything.
anything, did
Uh,
anything. I blacked out for a solid
yeah,
minute and a
he
half.
really had us in a chokehold on that one. And you know what? I live for it.
Live,
I
love.
expect nothing left. Nothing
Absolutely.
less, I should say. So basically the gist of Sean's like part of the promo is like, I've been getting beat up way before you got here, my friend.
It's so true.
If anybody can take a licking and keep on ticking, it is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn
And
Michaels. I
amen.
don't know why you are giving yourself all these accolades. I was doing it long before you. I'll do it long after you. Don't get too full of yourself.
It's so true. And so on brand for him, because I remember when I'll never forget when they were like, whose power bomb is worse, Vader's or Sid? And he goes, I don't know. I blacked out from both. They're both pretty horrible. Like it's so on brand for him to just be
Mhm,
like, I just get beat up a lot. And
mhm.
then I just love it so
And
much.
then he has a nice little reminder for Stone Cold. And he's like, and if you recall, actually, I came and saved your ass once upon a time. So as
Mm.
far as I'm concerned, we're square.
I'm
Like,
saying. And I
um,
love a callback. I love a vengeance callback. It's like, wait, hold up. That was just a
amen.
check cash. This has nothing to do with he said, she said. Like, I'm just cashing in my check.
So essentially, these two very much so not into each other. They just start going at it. They
Love.
just, yeah, they start going at it. All of the stooges, all of the referees come. And so as they're, engaged in fisticuffs, the Hart Foundation comes up onto the Titantron as they, as they are one to do. And Owen rather is basically just laughing at them. He's like, stupid Americans. He's like, it's typical. He's like, you guys can't stop fighting each other long enough to see the actual person that you're feuding with.
Mm.
Um, and you're like, well, I mean, not
Again, not
not
no.
yeah.
I hate this like iteration because it's just like in this day and age, and we've said this before, where it's just like it's hard to choose a side in this argument. It really, really is.
It
Because
really
even like
is.
there's a part later that Brett talks about freedom of speech, and it really gags me. Like I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, but and then
Amen.
Shawn Michaels has a good comeback. We'll get to it. Oh my god,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
good.
yeah.
But
So it is announced that the Hart Foundation will challenge Stone Cold, if Stone Cold can get a partner, or if Shawn can get a partner, some form of the two of them,
yeah,
uh, to a tag team championship match next week, because they just assume that they can't get their ish together. I mean, and again, not no.
like
So,
not no, yeah. They have a
um,
week to find somebody, each of them, and then like work together enough to take down the tag team champions, the reigning tag team champions for a minute now.
right, a
That's
hot minute now.
crazy.
Um, and then they just start fighting again. Like neither of them wants each other to be their partner. They're both
Yeah.
pissed about it. They just get back into it.
Yeah, they were like noted, and then they were like,
Right, 100%.
okay.
Yeah. So they once again have to get separated and brought off into their whatever corners of the arena they keep them in. And
Wherever their cages are.
right. So then we go and we get kind like a promotional shot of what is supposed to be the first match of the evening, which is supposed to be Vader versus Crush. But then we learn that Vader has his nose broken in 4 places
I didn't even
by
know that was possible.
by
Like your nose is not that big.
that's what I'm saying. He like shattered his nose. So much so that his septum was shattered, which means that he can't breathe essentially. So he was not medically cleared to compete. So
Which I want to say they showed a shot of Vader really quickly, and they had the mask on his face with the bandages over it
yeah, I know.
just to say that he can't compete. Just tell me. You don't need
Right.
to show me. I
I don't
saw him get his ass beat by Ken Shamrock. I
right.
don't need
I
to see. I don't need you to pull him out in the locker room, make him put the mask on over his destroyed
face.
nose just to prove a point. Like
Right.
let him rest. Like I didn't need to see
100%.
that.
But yeah, like he could have had the night off.
Yeah, I believed
He
you.
didn't
I
he didn't
believed you.
he didn't need to fly to Mobile, Alabama for that one. Like I'm not gonna lie.
No,
Uh
really. No, really. That horrible.
yeah. So then we learn in a surprise of surprises that it'll be Hunter Hearst Helmsley that's taking Vader's spot. And this is a
Outrageous.
King of the Ring opening round match, which, if you remember from last week, we know you did, that
Mm.
Ahmed Johnson won the match for the other like first round match against Hunter Hearst Helmsley via disqualification. So technically, Hunter was already eliminated. But then we go and we cut back to Jerry Briscoe, who we learned who he was from the
That
Pat
Patterson
Patterson
episode.
documentary. And he comes on and is essentially like, the referee made an error last week in stating that the winner could only advance via pinfall or submission, meaning that Hunter did not realize that a disqualification would uh
Eliminate him from the
tournament. Thank you.
tournament.
And then he apparently threatened to sue
Oh,
as
no
uh,
surprise to
right.
anybody.
And to avoid all of that, he gets put into this match, which is just crazy. Just
Outrageous.
what a
I mean,
wild, random.
and I kind of saw this coming because I think I said this last week. Where I was like, I am so shocked he's out in the first round. Like, did he not feel like doing King of the Ring this year? And he was like, just have Ahmed take
Hmm.
me out. I don't feel like doing this because it seems so random.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then when he came out, I was like, at first I was so excited because China was wearing the most sensational jumpsuit I have
Yes.
yet seen on this earth,
Mm-hmm.
and she distracted me, and so at first I was so excited, and then Xavier was making a face, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. No, 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 no. You're not supposed to be here. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
is this?" But of course, he finagled his way in. I'm not surprised. If anyone could, he was going to.
Absolutely. I have a note that's just sometimes when they cut to China, it looks like a toddler you just told no to.
Oh
Because
my
like she
god.
really does like on the like the she's just
Oh
like
my, that is so real. But like a
um
scary toddler that doesn't go like, "But I want it." She just is
no,
like,
no, like the one that has like just like rage issues, like the
"Oh my,
toddler that like all the other parents are scared of. It's
it's
that one.
her."
Um
Oh my, that's so true.
of course, Crush is accompanied by all of the nation, with the exception of JC was JC Ice and Wolfie
And Wolfie
D.
D.
Because they're still licking their wounds. The way that they described it though just made it sound like they died.
Absolutely. It sounded
Like
like the tribute is getting put
it's
together.
well on
It
his
was
way. Like we're gonna have like a 12 bell whatever salute or whatever that is. I was like, what
it's
is this? Why did you make it sound like this?
it
Like,
sounded very severe. I was like, did they like leave the nation? Did
mm-hmm.
they die? Like, are they like not wrestling ever again? Are they paralyzed?
Right.
Like, it was so serious, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll find out. It was
Yeah.
nice to have them enter without the rap. I did not miss it.
No,
Sorry.
100%. Not even a little bit.
Not
Didn't
even a
I
little.
honestly didn't even notice.
Didn't notice they I didn't even notice they weren't there until they said it, and I go,
Oh,
"Oh,
right. Right,
is
right,
that why their
right.
entrance isn't as annoying?"
That's how superfluous they are. Like,
What a sin. And you guys know they redeemed themselves in our eyes last week by the way that they put on the show, but
right.
still, that mess needed to end. That was done. And I'm like, did they do this just to have, like, they realized they had played the bit out too long and they were like, let's have them get beat up and stop doing that intro
No,
because
100% because this is a lot.
it's
This
a
is
lot. It was
uh
played out.
um
Respect.
yeah. Listen, I appreciate that. We'll see. We'll see. Like we don't know if they could be back next week for all I know, but the way they
Yeah.
made it sound was like they were deceased,
Yeah,
gone
like
with the wind.
absolutely.
This match was fine. It was like pretty well contested. It was back and forth for the most part. Of course, the nation tries to get involved. Savio ends up like on the ring apron at one point. And then while the referee's distracted with Savio, Triple H is like, "Girly, get up here and like try and do
Mhm.
something about it." And then the referee sees China. It's a whole mess. Like there's a skirmish by like the ring rope. Savio goes to kick Triple H, misses, kicks
Mhm.
Crush right in the dome ski.
Mhm.
Triple H picks up the victory, and we get a little interesting back and forth between Crush and Savio. Crush
Mhm.
like drags Savio in the ring and is like, explain yourself. I don't know what that was, but
Yeah.
this is not it. They start like shoving each other. So much so like Papa Farouk has to come down and like dole
Scold
out
the children.
punishment. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're like, what is this? No, literally the finger wag.
Yep.
Like this is crazy. Um,
I will say, like, Savio Vega's aim is normally so tried and true. It is shocking
right.
with that kick. I mean, it is shocking information to have him miss, but
You know, what are you gonna do?
what are
What are
you
you
gonna
gonna
do? Can't win them all.
do? So Farouk comes down to mediate. He kind of separates the two. Crush kind of leaves in a huff. Savio kind of leaves just like mildly confused. So,
What are you gonna do?
well, some definitely like I feel like we're in a like a reshaping phase of the nation.
I'm
You know what
I'm
I?
here for it. I really am. I'm super here for it. Some restructuring needs to happen here.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
But Farouk had to come out and remind them who's Big Daddy
Right,
Nation.
100%.
Yeah.
So moving on. Next, we have Owen Hart taking on Bob Holly. Bob Holly is the hometown hero in this little scenario. He is from Mobile, Alabama. So, we get a little like video montage from a couple locals just wishing Bob Holly, they're like, "You're from Alabama, I'm from
Oh my
Alabama."
God.
So like, just
I
just
love it.
just a wishing him well. And then the king says he had the
Oh,
opportunity to also interview some locals, and when he the way that they found, I don't know, how do I say this
you
nicely?
can't say this nicely. It's really horrible.
they found the most like stereotypical like hillbilly person like
Like
people they could find.
if you were gonna draw like a political cartoon, like those like mean cartoons about like politicians, but like a stereotype of Mobile, Alabama,
Right.
they found those two
They
people.
found those two
And
people.
I didn't like this.
It was just really mean. Like it
It's
was
bullying.
really mean. Like he
I don't like that.
King goes and first of all he calls them what is it like a dentist
An
like
orthodontist's dream.
right to their face first of all, and then he goes and asks it's like a father and son like pairing. He's like, so if you and your wife get divorced, are you still brother and sister? Jerry, get a
And
grip.
it was sad because like the man like really didn't understand like what he was trying to say.
Yeah,
Like
because they
I
definitely like didn't tell them that like this was like they are the butt of the joke.
I
Like
don't like this
I don't
type
know,
of humor. This
it
bothers
just
me because last week we were talking about it's great when you like you're in verbal discourse with someone and you say something that literally confuses them. But this is not that. This
no,
is
but
just bullying.
that's because it's punching down. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yes.
like Jerry's the one with the
Yes.
platform and the like, so it's like
And you're not fighting with someone. You're
no,
literally just making fun of somebody who paid money
to
to
come and
come
watch this.
here and we're probably so excited. They're like, we're gonna pull you aside and interview you for the match, and we're gonna show like it really bothered me
Mm-hmm.
because it's like they were probably so excited and then they just got like ripped on to the point
Ridiculed.
where they
Like
didn't even understand. Like, oh, it really bothered me.
yeah, it didn't yeah, it's just like unnecessary. It was just like
Unnecessary.
unnecessarily mean. Uh
Yeah. Last week Jerry was one of the girls, and then this week he went right back to the boys' locker room
oh
and
my
made me
god,
mad.
and then some.
And
And
then
then
some.
some.
Ooh,
He
he was
was
heinous this week.
absolutely. So this match was it's a short and sweet. I do have a note that says the way that Owen Hart was yeeting Bob Holly into those corners was crazy. Like
Crazy.
you heard Bob Holly hit every one of those ring buckles just
Yes.
like every time. Um
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry. No,
Nailed it. No, that was perfect.
thank you. Thank
Put
you.
him in that. What is this the sound studio called? I forget.
The Foley
The
soundstage.
Foley soundstage. Thank you. Put him in. He's ready.
So the entire Heart Foundation minus Brett is watching from the stage area. Apparently they don't view Bob Holly enough of a threat to stay local, so they're just watching from afar. Um,
I love Bob Holly.
amen. When Bob Holly does picks up the victory with a quick roll up. He gets
Love.
him. He gets the better of Owen. He gets the win in front of his hometown crowd. We love that. I love that.
Love. I love that. And
He
against
gets
Owen Hart, like that, it's not no offense, but it's not like the Brooklyn Brawler
right.
or
Right, right.
Barry Horowitz.
Mhm.
It's Owen Hart of the Hart Foundation. Like this is an
The
actual like
Intercontinental Champion. He has a victory
it's like
over.
a real like a sizable tangible victory in like his hometown. And I feel like Bob Holly deserved that. I
I
love that
agree.
for him.
I agree. I agree. Next, we just get a little. Sunny has just been relegated to
Oh
just
my
doing
god.
commercials, essentially. She is apparently now the spokesperson for Super Soaker. She
Can't
had
make
like
it
a
up.
search and soak little
You
segment
can't make it up.
where Jim Cornette comes and like finds her to like sign some contracts or something, and she just like hoses him down with like a Super Soaker, and then um the whole slogan of the Super Soaker is wetter is better, and they just keep
Mm.
just nailing that one home. They just
Oh,
wetter is better, better, wetter, wetter, better. Yeah. And like,
super soak. Mm. Like
yeah,
it was as sexual as you're all envisioning it. And also, this is inappropriate and maybe we'll cut this. But I realized while we were watching that the even the motion of shooting a super soaker is so sexual.
right.
Like it's the yeah.
It's the having to pump it before. Yeah, it's the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. Hmm.
It's okay. I mean, it's almost comical. Like it's almost like so ridiculous. It's funny, but at the same time, it's like the fact that Sunny has truly been relegated to just like a piece of ass who's, jerking the super soaker, like, and
Right,
saying
is
wetter is better
crazy.
is wild,
Right.
is so
Like, to go
wild.
from being one of the top heel managers to literally just like a sexual punchline, literally later on is used as a sexual punchline,
Oh,
uh,
yeah, that
is
was crazy. I
crazy.
was Googling like crazy while we were watching because I had to get the tea on what that was about.
LOL. Yeah,
I'll fill you guys in.
so, yeah. So then we get after that just whatever that was. We get a little backstage interview segment. Shawn is chilling in the back with Ken Shamrock, and essentially he's like, "I found myself in a dangerous situation, and what do you do when you're in a dangerous situation? You get the most dangerous man in the world." Which all fine, well, and good, but they repeated the most dangerous man in the world at least 6 times during
So
this
many
promo,
times.
and
So
we're
many
just like, "Okay, guys,
times.
we get it, we get it." And honestly, I feel like that's no fault of Shawn's. I just feel like
No.
uh, Ken just doesn't have the reps as far as like promo goes, so like he was giving Shawn nothing. Like,
Yeah, like it's so true because like Shawn Michaels said, like, I found myself in a dangerous situation, so I got the most dangerous man. And he kind of like passed it to Ken, and he was like, yeah, that's me. Dangerous man, the most dangerous man in the world for your dangerous situation. Like basically just said the same thing. And then Shawn was like,
it
yep.
was like a Dos
So
Equis commercial. Like it was that.
instead of most interesting, most dangerous man.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
it.
God, it's
Uh,
so true.
it's just Ken Shamrock on a boat, Ken Shamrock on a motorcycle, Ken Shamrock.
What can't he do? He's the most dangerous man in the world.
uh, so
Wild.
that little combo is bandied about. So
Which
TBD.
I was kind of into it. I was kind of into it for the minute.
I mean, I'd watch the match. That's for
For
sure. Like,
oh, for sure. For sure.
but do I think like they have anything like in common? Not so much.
No,
But
no,
like, especially like as a team, you know what I mean? Like,
no.
I wouldn't like put the tag team champions on them and be like,
That's the one.
right, like
I
they're
wouldn't do that
friends.
either.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't buy that.
No.
Ken
I
Shamrock,
would
father
watch
of
it.
four, and sexy boy Shawn Michaels out
Father
here,
to all.
daddy to all.
Daddy to all. Father of four and daddy to all.
uh,
Oh my God.
so
Amen. That's so funny.
Amen. So next we get a what is one of my favorite interview segment
I love that this
things.
is one of your favorite interviews because it is so crazy. It is so
It's so
unhinged.
great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it because you finally get to meet the many faces of Mick Foley.
I am
This
very excited about
is
this. Yes.
this is our first introduction to, first of all, man, not just seeing mankind as just this like absolutely deranged person. I mean, we do. He still very much so is.
Yes.
But getting a kind of glimpse behind the curtain as to like, oh, like the way that they're presenting it is like this was a normal kid with dreams of being a wrestler that kind of got knocked off that path. Or like kind
Yeah.
of like, something wonky
It
happened in
was
his
his villain
brain.
origin story.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. They open the interview with, he's like, what is the biggest misconception about mankind? And he's like, that I'm a bad person. He's like, there's lots
Mm,
of reasons to hate me, but what I don't want is to be hated for like untruths and lies and whatever, or you not grasping the whole story. um and then he goes on to talk about like, he talks about like just playing like cowboys and Indians, and how he's like, oh, he's like, who's the good guy in that scenario? He's like, is it the cowboys like coming over to like rape and pillage and blah blah blah, like innocent people? Like,
colonize.
is that the hero of this story? He's like, no, I always wanted to play the Indians. I wanted to root for the underdog. And again, we're like, the thing is like, that's so crazy because in 1997, like, the thing is like, why do we agree with all the heels in
Uh,
1997?
okay. Why are they spitting facts?
So
He literally was like, land back. Like,
yeah,
that's not right.
no,
And Xavier and I were
100%.
like,
Literally, I was not
I
expecting
mean,
mankind to literally drop like talking about manifest destiny in his promo. Like,
yeah, talk
I
about
was
native erasure.
I was not ready for that. But I was here for
Crazy.
it.
Here
because
for that.
and these are the things that's just like he is so intelligent. Like he is so
Love
well
that guy.
spoken and you never think about it. You never think about it because it's so crazy and unhinged
Mhm.
because the packaging is so wild. Like it sometimes is hard to appreciate how good the content is. Uh
Right. It's
you know?
true. Yeah, of
Um
course.
so basically he like goes on to just be like something I can do better than anybody else is handle pain. And
Mhm.
I found a way to bleed for a living.
Love.
Which we ate up. We were just like, yes,
A
yes.
bleed for a living is hardcore as shit.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Right. And then he's like, I found out that as a pro wrestler, I could bleed for a living. I can do what other people can't do. I could be something, be so,
Mhm.
you know. And then he goes on to tell like us this story about just growing up and like being bullied for being different and about how there was this occasion where they were throwing like worms at him. And he's like, what are you supposed to do? Like throw a worm back at like a crowd of people? Like that's not going to do anything. He's like, so like what I did to like show them that I wasn't like they weren't affecting me. He's like, I slurped one down.
Crazy.
And that, you know, had its own consequences. And then he goes in to just be like, um, he's like, do you think I got a lot of dates after that, JR? He's like, probably not. And he's like, I couldn't show the world that I could love or be loved. And so you kind of get this like um you kind of just get a better understanding of mankind,
Yeah.
of mankind just being this like absolutely like tortured person who was just pushed to the brink until he snapped and became who he is.
Love.
And then we get a little preview of what's going to come because this is going to happen in multiple chunks.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, it gets better. Um, so we're going to meet uh, Mick Foley himself. We're going to meet the first character that Mick Foley ever came up with, which was Dude Love, which was something he did with his friends, like in his backyard,
Love.
who was this like charismatic lady killer, they even say it in the episode, very Shawn Michaels esque.
Mm.
Um, and then they mention his time as Cactus Jack,
I can't wait for this.
which is amazing, which we will also have to do a real deep dive education on because you need to see the matches between like Cactus Jack and Vader, Cactus Jack and Sting, Cactus Jack and Rick Rude. Oh, so good.
Oh, yes.
So and Cactus Jack is the character that does all those like crazy death matches in Japan and is essentially the character that goes to ECW. Um
Right. Right, right,
so
right. So exciting.
so getting to see the kind of like many faces of Mick Foley is really where Mick Foley's bread and butter is.
I know.
The because you really like see his talent in how he is like able to portray such vastly different people and you're still like, yeah, no, I believe that, that's cool. Like you're willing to suspend
Mm.
your disbelief because it's a hard thing to like get over, that he is this many people or whatever,
Mhm.
but because he's so good at it, you just go, ah, yeah, I'll take that. I'm entertained regardless.
It's so true.
So
Love that.
we're gonna get into the many faces of Mick Foley, which I love and
I
cannot
can't wait. Also, he really just drops the "I'm a good kisser and I never got to show it."
wait.
And I believe him.
I love that. I
I
love
kind of
that.
believe him.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So can't wait to see what other gems he'll drop on the other ones. Can't wait.
Yes. So, next we have Leaf Cassidy taking on the debuting Scott Taylor. He's just a young dude. He cites his influences as Owen and Shawn Michaels. So it
It
again
showed.
will be the case for many people coming up from this point on.
Yep.
Um, Jerry on commentary goes in to kind of explain a little bit about RVD and how he had brought RVD from ECW and how he's the only person in ECW with any just monicum of talent.
Mhm.
And he goes on to say that Paul Heyman essentially won't let RVD come to Raw anymore because RVD is a ECW employee. Paul Heyman runs ECW, and he's like, nah, we're not gonna do that. So
Love. I love that
um
Paul Heyman, like, just took Jerry's joy. I love to see it.
love
Just
to see it.
beep.
So as we know, last week Leaf did not handle his loss very well. So
Mm.
he really comes out of the gate swanging on this one. Scott Taylor doesn't even get to make it all the way to the ring before he essentially has to catch Leaf Cassidy's body
Yep.
as he performs a plancha from the rip. Leaf Cassidy is very aggressive in this match, as we know.
Yep.
Um, I will say that I just have a note. This is like Taylor athletic. You really like see the influences in the way that he wrestles, the way that he lands
Yes.
on the apron, some of his like reversals. You really kind of get the influence. You see it.
For sure.
Um, there's this one funny moment where Leaf Cassidy slams Taylor in essentially what is like an Alabama slam, what will become like Bob Holly's like finisher down the line,
Oh, well,
where
that
he
makes sense.
essentially like has his like legs over and just like slams him down onto the mat very aggressively. It's like a variation on like a spine buster. But the best part is he like slams him down and Leaf is like, I bet that hurt. And you're like, like, okay.
It was so funny though, because we both went like, "Ooh," because it did look like it
It
hurt,
did look
and
like it
then
hurt.
then Leave just being like, "I bet that hurt." Like we were like, "It,
Yeah.
yeah."
um
I love that. It's so
this
funny.
match ends much like the opener in that Taylor wins with a roll up, like just a quick roll up,
Everyone's a little fruit
and
roll up out
Leaf
here today.
loses his mind. The
Al
man
Snow, he's busting
up
out.
jumps up onto the announce table, like grabs JR again, and like JR's
This
like
is crazy. He's in a full squat on the table, like with
yelling at J like
JR's like collar in his hands, like
right.
like a rabid animal.
100%. He's treating JR as if he was like an order box at like a drive-through. This is crazy. Like he's just shouting into his
I
mouth.
want a I can't
like,
even do it. Oh my god. The
like
ice cream
speaking to the
machine's
clown.
broken again?
Relax. Man,
Screaming.
the man's losing his mind.
It's Al Snow. He's busting out. He's like
N-
Venom. He's
No,
like,
honestly, literally get that
it's
symbiote under control.
oh,
So next, we cut to Stone Cold Steve Austin backstage looking for a tag team partner,
this was
and
crazy.
he just walks. He knocks on Sable's dressing room door, does not wait for a response, opens the door. She is topless, except for a Austin 316 shirt that she's like holding up. And he's
What
like,
does
ah,
that mean?
I don't know.
Why does she have that? I
I
have
don't
so many
know.
questions.
She's like looking. He's like, look. He's like, oh, I'm just looking for a tag team partner. Like, no need to get like so upset. And then he like, she's like, can you leave? Essentially, and he's like, what? Like, what'd you say? Like, keeps opening the door as like a joke, like trying to like get a peek, which is no, Steve.
Bad
Like,
Steve.
bad Steve.
Bad.
But I kind of just a funny
It was funny.
like exchange, I
It
guess.
makes no sense objectively though, because it's not like it was like Wildman in Sable's dressing room. It literally just said Sable. So were you
Literally
going to
just
ask
said
Sable to
Sable.
be your tag team partner, which work? Like if you were, love to see it.
Hmm.
But it was like it was funny, but also like I'm like, why does she have an Austin 316 shirt? What does that mean? Like, because that means you're a fan. Where did you get that? What does this mean for
Mm,
the future? I have
yep.
questions.
Hmm.
Topless with the shirt. What's happening?
We'll see. We'll see. So next, next they give us the top of hour two, in which they give us the recap again, and then they give
Oh,
us like it was like another 6 or 7 minutes of like the same recap that we got at the
which
opening of the show.
I get why they did it, but at the same time, we were like, okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Yeah, the whole thing.
Right. But when we get back to new stuff, the Hart Foundation comes down to the ring, and we are finally going to get the surprise that Brett has been talking about for weeks at this point. So the entire squad rolls up at the top of the apron. They make their way down. Brett's no longer in a wheelchair though, so positive.
Mhm.
Essentially, uh Brett goes in to just say, he's like, Shawn wouldn't allow me my right to free speech. And then he goes on, he's like, that's the get the thing here, right? Free speech. Like, I'm supposed to be able to just say what in my head, I'm just like, rights are only applicable to citizens. Um,
Oh my God.
I don't know how to break it to you. Yes, if you're not a citizen, you get, you're afforded certain rights. Sure, sure. But the big gag of the whole thing is it's really meant for the people that are here.
Mhm.
Just saying.
Mhm.
I just thought that shit
Mhm.
was hilarious. I
It
was just
is
like,
funny. He was
you're
like,
going
"Isn't that the
on and
thing
on
down
about
here?"
free speech but like you're a Canadian, so like who cares?
Like, I don't know what you guys got going on up there.
uh so ridiculous.
I don't go up there and ask for free healthcare.
That's what I'm saying. I would love
I
to.
mean,
They're
I
not going to give it
do.
to
Yeah.
me.
I stay right here and ask for it.
Yeah, we've been asking for it. They ain't saying nothing.
I know. It's
So
radio silence,
Brett goes on to like insult the crowd as always.
you
He talks
know.
about them speaking with forked tongues, and you're like, okay, Brett. I was like, you throwing on the southern accent is weird because you also have a Canadian accent. So like,
He's like, "I'm so sorry." And he's like,
right,
"Speaking with forked tongue." And we're like, "Okay, put one away.
right.
Put one away."
Uh, he essentially goes on to just say like HBK is no better than Stone Cold. He's like again attacking a man in a wheelchair, blah 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 blah
After
blah.
you screamed at him for 10, whatever.
Right. I was like, oh, I was honestly though. Let's talk about it.
Thank
How long do
you.
you expect a man to just stand there and listen to you berate him before you get socked in the mouth?
And you're
Like,
literally going,
how
"Hit me,
long?
hit me, hit me. You won't."
Right.
Guess what?
Like,
I will.
I
I
shall.
will.
I
I shall.
shall.
I will and I
I
shall. And I
will.
did.
I am ready, willing, and able. Let's go. Like you're
Mobile, agile, hostile.
like
You are
what?
not.
You talked so much the show ended before he kicked you in the face. Like
Who?
let's discuss that. Like, sir, I'm sorry. You get maybe if you can't get your point across in a minute, it's I, you're not that pressed. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
elevator pitch or get out.
That's what I get it together. I was like, what are you pissed about? Like, what are you pissed about? Because for the life of me, I can't figure it out. Because not for nothing, you were feuding with Stone Cold all of like whatever. And then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, actually, still not over Shawn.
Still not over Shawn being in Playboy. That made me upset.
Right. The way like that whole diatribe just made him sound like 85 years old. It was absolutely absurd. I was like,
It
you could
really
not have
did.
sounded less with the times than you did.
He really was like, "Let's bring back censorship. I don't want to see this man shaking his ass. I don't want to
Right.
see it." Like, I was like, are you, are you in love with him? Are you working through something?
Right.
And but he is he's the object of your desire, but you
Mm,
have to hate him because or like, I
me in
don't
middle
know.
school.
Oh my God, I hate him so much. And you're just like,
Yeah, exactly.
okay. I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, but no, like literally though, like the hatred comes from kind of nowhere. It's just like, I don't like who you are, so therefore I'm gonna make you come out here, scream at you for 20 minutes, then beg you to hit me, and then get outraged when you do.
Right.
What? I hate
Okay.
that. Hate
Um,
that.
so the announcement essentially is that Shawn Michaels will not be the only one returning to King of the Ring, that Bret Hart will also be making his return from his knee injury, which seems a bit quick,
Soon.
but live your life. He then challenges Shawn Michaels to a match where the stipulation is if Brett doesn't win in 10 minutes, he will never wrestle in America again, which is bonkers.
Which
Bonkers
is
absurd.
crazy.
Um and then we get Shawn. on the Titantron.
Looking good.
Looking good. He found himself another little crop. And
Yeah, his first
he
one was ripped in the original
s-
kerfuffle.
yeah. Uh, he just it's the best. He comes onto the Titantron and he's like, "You couldn't beat me in 60 minutes. What
But
makes you think?" He's like,
period. The
"What makes you think
end.
you can do it in 10?" And he's like, "Oh, I know what's different." He's like, "Your little gaggle, your little buddies, your little
Little
gang."
minions.
Um,
Mm.
and he's like, "I actually want your whole gang there." And Brett's like, "Oh, they'll be there." And Sean's like, "Promise?" Like, no, real,
You swear?
like he's like, "Mean it?" Like,
He's so crazy.
he's like, "No, I want them there. But I have a little stipulation, a little caveat." He's like, "If they're gonna come down there, then they need to be handcuffed each to a ring post. Uh, because if they want to come down and watch, by all means, but we're settling this. Mano imano." And you're like, "Oh, okay, period per. Love to
Crazy.
see it."
We're gonna
Um,
handcuff 4 people to the ring for a 10-minute match.
mhm,
I love the drama.
mhm.
I
Um,
love it. Bring the handcuffs.
he's like, "I want your gang handcuffed to the ring post." And then he goes on to Brett and he says, "You couldn't go 10 minutes in any situation, if you know what I mean."
Mm?
And then he goes on to say, like, "You may have had some sunny days recently." Um, referencing Sunny, obviously.
Duh.
So, did you get any tea on this?
Okay. So I looked this up because I was like, hold up. Because that is an accusation to be like,
This
and you to for Shawn Michaels, who we know is with Sunny,
had been, yeah, yeah. I don't know if
had
there's,
been
uh-huh.
to accuse Brett of being like, I know you've had some sunny days recently. Okay, so apparently Brett never had an affair with Sunny, but this accusation got such serious legs, it ended up leading to his first divorce from Julie Hart.
Ah,
I was reading this and it was like there was apparently already some trouble in paradise, and this was the final straw because Sunny, unfortunately, was known to be out and
around.
about, and this accusation apparently pushed them over the edge because
That's crazy.
but apparently it never actually happened, but Shawn Michaels just did that to be a dick because he he was actually sleeping with her,
Right,
which is crazy, and then he just decided to throw that in there during the super soaker age, which is crazy.
right. Oh my god.
And yeah, apparently it never happened. It
I
wasn't true.
love that. Love that. I don't care.
Crazy. No, I love it. Listen, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and apparently wetter is better. Super soak it. I don't know.
He says, "Super soak it." Screaming. So next, no, so essentially, Brett goes on to be like, "Oh, like I'm gonna smoke you, Shawn Michaels, blah 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 blah." And he's like, "You can smoke me, quote unquote, all you want, but what you have to do is beat me, which you can't."
Period. Whew.
And I was just like, "Ooh,
He was
love
good
to
because
see it."
he said the same thing you said, where it's like, and also you're talking about freedom of speech. You couldn't stop gabbing. We had to end the episode.
Literally,
You exercise free speech here. Like,
right, 100%,
love.
100%.
Love.
Anyway, love to see it. Love it when they're feuding.
Me too.
One of the best rivalries in wrestling history.
It's so good.
Love to see it. Next we have Goldust with Marlena taking on Rockabilly with the Honky Tonk Man.
Ew.
We get like a little cute little moment in the
So
beginning
cute.
where Goldust grabs the microphone. He's like, "Who wants to see Marlena?" And everyone's like, "Ah." Like,
I was like, me.
no,
I was like,
yeah,
oh God,
Kelsey
sorry.
also. And he's like, "How about I do you one better? Like, how about I bring out two Marlenas, and how about one of them's a mini?" And like, so
It was so
Marlena
cute.
Terry Runnels comes out with their daughter Dakota. And she is dressed exactly like mom. It's so
So
cute. It
cute,
is so cute.
precious. And that kid was a star. She came
Mhm.
up and she took that mic. She's
Yeah,
like, it's my show now,
she
girl.
runs to the ring, grabs the mic. Anytime either of them tried to grab it, she was like, "No, this
She's
is
like,
me." She
mm-mm,
like got up
mm-mm.
on the rope. She was like doing a little jumpy dance. It was cute. It was
She
very
was
very
having the
cute.
time of her life. I want to know where she is now. I'll have to look that up.
So then they take her backstage. She had her moment. It's very cute.
Very sweet.
And then we are subjected to Rockabilly. So
Uh,
I'm over this. I'm so over seeing this.
yeah.
I don't care for it. I'm bored of it.
You
It's
guys know.
bad. It's bad every time. I will say Goldust really, I feel like, was playing it up, was really playing the flamboyance up this match, and I think it's because of where they were. I
Mm,
think he was like, I know exactly where we are, and I know exactly how to get a reaction, and I'm gonna ham it up. He was being
yes.
so extra. He
So
has
extra.
Billy like in the corner. He's like punching him in the face, doing the whole 10 count thing with the crowd. And then he proceeds to do his like Goldust like body rub thing. He takes Billy's hand, puts it on his own ass, and then plants one on Billy and just keeps wailing on his face after. And Jerry during this match, Jerry, let's talk. The
Do it.
way you for some reason just can't get over the fact that in a emotional moment, Goldust was crying, and the way that you just kept hammering on and on, a man crying, that's so weak. You're like, you're so boring. You're
Played
so
out.
tired. I was like, this is so lazy. It's not funny. It's not interesting. You're offering nothing. So, like,
Mm,
what are we doing? What are we doing? First of all, they put on this whole interview things for everyone to kind of get to know this man more, and you
mm-hmm.
spend the entire time just burying him and also shitting on his daughter, which is like weird and like a weird look.
Gross energy.
You know what I
Gross
mean?
energy.
I was like, she's like 2, and you're like I hate
She
this
was an
woman.
ugly kid. Like he literally said she was an ugly kid.
Yeah, and we're like, we get it. I know you're trying to play color commentator, like blah blah. Your color commentary on this one is just tired. I'm so tired of this whole like
He's a
like
sissy. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
And also,
the liberal use of sissy on this one. He's like, oh, like no wonder his father hates him. Like he's like a sissy and he's like kissing other men. And you're like, this, like, okay. I was like, and I
so
get it. I'm probably a little biased, but just really and truly, Jerry, you can fuck right off with that one.
no, period.
Because it's so tired.
It's so,
Uh,
and also, I'm sorry, didn't you cry when the Hart Foundation got back together?
yeah, well, haven't
That was
you?
a cute little reason for you to shed some tears.
And honestly, anytime they're out there, it's really hard to hear you with this fucking gack all up in your mouth like that. So get it together. Like,
Oh my God.
I don't care.
Lord. No, he really, yeah, no, today. And that's the thing too, because like last week, he had some rippers. And
Oh,
even Cold Day in Hell, we were like, oh my God, Jerry is on fire. So when you come with this bullshit, I'm just like,
ugh,
this is so weak sauce. I hate this. Like,
right. So weak
this is all you
sauce.
got. Also, you're telling me rockabilly? Like, I don't want to use the word sissy, but rockabilly, who's wearing the bedazzled and the dancing and
Right.
the
I was like,
whatever. Oh, he's fine.
what's the difference?
What's
What's the
yeah, like
difference? Like,
really, I mean, you don't even know where your own lines are. Like
mhm.
it just
And the way you kept going on, like the man didn't just have his wife and child like out here. And I get it, that doesn't necessarily mean much. but
right, right.
but like it's a television character, it's a show. Like it's not real. Like
It
oh, get
triggers
it.
something for him.
It triggered something in me, that's for damn sure. Uh like, um Honky Tonk Man makes his presence known. He
So
gets involved in the ring, but Goldust manages to smash that guitar all over his face. It was
love to see it.
beautiful, but in a weird like call as far as like the ref is concerned, he
Oh, this made me so
disqualifies
mad.
qualifies Goldust like it isn't Rockabilly's manager in the ring.
Like he
Right,
didn't defend himself from Honky Tonk Man, who's not supposed to be in the match,
right.
and is like in the dead center of the ring.
Right. I was like, but Rockabilly wins? That's crazy.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like a weird call.
Made no
Um,
sense.
And next we have a backstage interview with Ahmed Johnson, and this is just wild. So,
Wild.
of course, because there is no I couldn't think of a worse way to follow up a like racially charged interview with just asking the next available black man on your roster like his 2 cents on it. You know what I mean? It's just like you literally were just like, "You're black."
Thoughts? It really and that's what I said last week is like they literally do not understand that that's crazy.
Right.
They literally are like, "All right, well, Farouk, they dropped race card a lot."
A
We were like, "Ooh,
lot.
this can't be a thing." They were like, "Well, Farouk made a comment about and he played the race card, Ahmed Johnson. Thoughts?" And Ahmed Johnson was like, I was like really hoping you weren't gonna ask me this question, but since you asked, like,
No,
why are we
literally.
doing this? Like, you guys serious? Oh,
And the way the literally he goes, he's like, the way he's like, I didn't want to do this, but if you're
uh,
gonna do this, and then the way he just agreed with Farouk,
uh,
that was the best part. Is like he's like, I don't like Farouk at all. I was like, he's a liar, he's a cheat, he's a sellout. He's like, but
but
where's the lie though? He told no lies.
yeah,
He's like he and then he calls out Vince. He goes, he tried to ask you a direct question and you couldn't answer it. He's like,
crazy.
so he's like what he said was the truth. There has not been any like men of color really given opportunities at the WWF championship. Like don't
Mhm.
like pretend like that isn't the case.
Yeah,
So and
and
then he goes on to just be like um yeah, so he agrees with Fruit. He's like, what he said was the truth. He's like, I'm not gonna go there with you, like the ins and outs of that. He's like, and then he goes on to just kind of like self promote, where he's like, I'm gonna be the first like black champion. And you're like, okay, cool,
okay, he circled the background.
right. But I was just
But
like, of course you did. Like, of course you did. Of course you did this. Like, first of all, you like start this whole like weird racially charged angle, and then just make it worse. You don't even realize how like bad that looks.
right, that's what I'm
You
saying.
don't even
Like,
like know, you know what I mean? Like you just go it was literally like in when I would get asked in classes like the like gay perspective because I was the one gay like out
you're the
person
token
that
gay.
everyone
Yeah.
knew. And I
Yep.
was just like, how about we don't? How about my perspective is probably not that different from everybody else's, but let's shine a spotlight on the teenager in your classroom. Sure, that's
Like,
fun.
that's crazy.
Like,
Like,
um,
so wild. Yeah, and the thing is, it's what's even crazier is that like, because then they kind of like Vince and JR kind of come back with like, it's not that they haven't been given opportunities. It's just that they haven't been able to beat them for the champion. And we're like, okay, but locate you decide who wins.
and
Like we
loses.
know that. Like we're
Right,
not that stupid. Like, and I feel
right,
like that's what Ahmed was saying was like, okay, like, yeah, but also like, like
right.
they're not
Yeah,
given the same opportunities because at the end of the day, it is a scripted show.
right,
It's not that they didn't, oh, they'll get them next time. Like, that's not what happened.
right.
It's just, and thank again, Ahmed Johnson, like, really, I feel like he handled this so well where he, like, was like, no, I totally agree with Farouk. And then he kind of circled it back to, like, but I'm going to be the first champion. Like, I don't know. I feel like he handled it well, but it handled a situation well that he shouldn't have been like had to forced to handle.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I agree.
crazy.
It's just and the lack of just like that's the lack of self awareness is what's like is the most jarring part about it because you're just like you really don't see how that's problematic. Okay, okay. I like it's like I'm trying to like
It's
be I'm
1997.
trying to be reasonable in that respect, but at the same time I'm just like no,
But it's not
like
1957.
that's what I'm exactly. You know what I mean? Like
Again, WCW over there 5 years ago. Farouk,
right,
champion. It's actually not that crazy.
right. So anyway. Moving on, Stone Cold is still looking for a partner. He is essentially the camera like rolls up on him, his back is to the camera, and he's talking to somebody who he is clearly larger than. Like, just does you do not see the person he is speaking to.
I
And we
was
find
really hoping it was Dakota, like Goldust and Marlena's
I thought that
daughter.
would have been hilarious.
That would have been so funny if he moved and it was just her, like,
Yep, honestly.
amazing.
And we find out that it's Harvey Wimpleman, which
No idea.
um but then the Brooklyn Brawler randomly shows up and is like, "I'll be your partner." And then Stone Cold just like beats him up and he's like, "You're trash. I don't want you."
So he
Which is
throws him into
hilarious.
like two conveniently like placed oil buckets that say
Mhm.
Raw is War on them,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
conveniently staged right there. And he's just like, no, because Brooklyn was like, I'm your guy. Like, I got you, Stone Cold. And he's like, oh, oh, you do? Oh, how interesting. And he just like,
He's like, the thing is like
so
the thing that's
great.
crazy is not 2 seconds ago he's begging Harvey Wimpleman, who's like
Who's like,
just a nerd in an oversized suit. He's like, "You don't have to do anything. All you got to do is stand there." And then an actual wrestler comes up and is like, "I'll help you," and he's like, "That's not what I
nah, it's not what I want.
want."
Literally not what I want.
uh,
So crazy.
so next we have Farouk taking on Rocky Maivia. We haven't really seen much of Rocky Maivia since he lost the Intercontinental Championship. So nice to see him. Nice to see him. The match opens with Farouk trying to get Rocky to do the nation symbol. Rocky did not seem to be having it. Um and Rocky looks good in this. He's very much so like
Yeah.
he gets the better from like the onslaught of the match. He's kind of just like has the upper hand for the most part. Farouk, however, turns it around, performs the dominator, gets the win. The nation begins to attack Rocky, and Farouk stops them. This is a very interesting just note, because as we know, Rocky is half black. So we know that's kind of generally like the thing of the nation, minus Crush, who is there for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so um, it seems like Farouk has taken an interest in Rocky, and he doesn't want the nation to lay hands on him. So we'll see where that goes and how Rocky kind of handles those, I guess, advances is kind of how we'll phrase it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, they're trying to recruit my boy.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying
Mm-hmm.
to, which I like this. Like we're talking about restructuring, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is gonna happen because Rocky needs something. Like he is really just like
He
in
needs it.
terms of crowd pull or
He
like
needs like a
any sort
shot
of
in the
sway,
arm.
he
Yeah.
needs something. Yeah. And I was like, then the way I hate the nation and the way I'm like, this could be interesting.
Right.
I could be into this.
Right.
I
Mhm, mhm.
like that. I'm into it.
Then it cuts to the Hart Foundation just violently beating up Bob Holly
Hate
backstage.
this. Canceled. Boo.
Hate this. Boo. Don't want.
Tomato. Oh my God, I'm
Um,
outraged by this. Leave Bob Holly alone.
amen. Right.
So
Uh
upsetting.
didn't deserve that. But hey, it furthers the Hart Foundation as a heel faction. So
Yeah.
that
I do
here
love
we
when
are.
JR goes, they're just a pack of wild dogs and that's all they are. Like when he says that's all they are,
Yeah.
that is the most cutting insult he could have given them. Let's
Hmm.
be like, they're just a gang, that's all they are. I love when he does that. Pack
So
of wild
funny.
dogs, that's all they are. They're nothing to
Amazing.
me. I when he says that, I know he means business. He
Hmm.
like that he is so fed up.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait for you to like for you to hear JR like really mad on commentary. It's so
Ooh,
funny.
I can't. Well,
Uh
he had that moment, that brief little stint where he was going off the rails.
yeah, when
He invented the mic drop. We talked about
oh
this.
right,
Like
right.
he went off the rails and I loved that version. So I can't wait to see him like really,
Hmm. Yeah,
throw
just
so
wait
much coal
till
into that fire.
we have some years, but like him and Triple H
Ooh,
really get into it.
love.
Next we have an interview with our boy, the Dead
Hey,
Man.
he's
The
gone.
Undertaker comes down and he is asked specifically about Paul Bearer, to address that. But he's like, I'm going to address Farouk first.
Love.
And you're like, okay.
Okay.
And then it started off and we were like, uh-oh.
Oh,
Because he's
yeah,
like,
we're like,
then he goes on to just be like, Farouk played the race card, and he's like, I'm not a white savior. He's like because I don't like. What did he say? I don't recognize color. Or I don't like
yeah,
whatever. And again, in 2024, we don't do color blindness. That's not a thing.
no, no,
But he kind of salvages it a little bit with this next line where he's like I'm not white, I'm not black. He's like I am the like
I'm the
purveyor of
Reaper.
like the reaper of souls or whatever. I'm like good. Race zombie. Got it. Like
Yeah,
that's what
no,
I'm
literally, he was like, I identify as undead.
right.
That's it.
And I was like, okay, perfect. Because I was like,
That's kind of, yeah.
where's this going, Taker? This is not what I
Right,
want.
because he was like, it reaffirmed he's like, I'm just an entity. Like, I'm
Right.
actually not even a man. Like,
Hmm.
I am just,
Yeah.
I open the door to the souls. Like, he just
Right.
does the most crazy, and he's like, no, he literally was like, I'm not black, white, or anything. I'm just dead.
Right. Essentially.
Crazy.
But then he's like, so when you're like sitting at home wondering like why you don't have the championship, he's like, it's not gonna be because you're black, it's because you couldn't beat me. Like, and you're like, okay, like, all right.
Crazy.
I was like, go off, dead man, go off. And then Vince asks the Undertaker about Paul Bearer again, and he's like, now is not the time. And Paul Bearer's like, actually, yes, it is.
Whatever. Oh God, his
He
voice.
loses his mind. He's like, remember that morning, like that morning that we buried your parents, essentially. Like, what an opener.
Yeah,
Um,
and like you get so much information from that one sentence. They died in one fell swoop. You buried them with Paul together. Were other people there? Like you just like
um,
wild.
Paul goes on to say that fire has opened up some old wounds. And then Paul basically goes on to be like, oh, I'm gonna open like Pandora's box. Like, you don't even know what's coming. He's like, if you don't come back with me. And then Undertaker's like, Paul, like, wait. He's like, wait, like, why should I wait? Like, I don't owe you anything.
Which
Um,
ew,
crazy.
ew.
And and then the Undertaker's like, I need more time. And um Paul like really channels his best like scream. He's like 7 days, like, and you're like, and you're like, okay.
Literally though, you
He's like,
have 7 days.
literally, he's like, you have 7 days. Um, and so essentially, if the Undertaker is not, he used the word subservient, which is crazy.
Piss me
Uh,
off.
right. I was like,
If you're not subservient to me in 7 days, that is a wild sentence.
especially to say to the Undertaker of
Who's
all
six
people,
foot 11 or
right?
whatever he
Whatever,
is.
300 pounds. Like, yeah, okay.
And Paul Bear
Um,
is literally like, I am sitting and I'd be at his shoulder.
100%. Like, he's he's just like, I don't know. He's like lollipop guild adjacent.
Ooh.
So like, it's fine. Um, so essentially Paul Heyman, or sorry, not Paul Heyman, Paul Bearer goes, it's all over but the crying, essentially. So we're gonna the developments, they're happening. They're happening.
I know
I'm
you're so
so
excited
excited.
to wait one more week for this secret. And I have to say, we waited a week for Bret Hart's secret. I wasn't that thrilled by it. I know that's mean. I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy he's coming back, but he was like, you held this over my head just to say, like, I'll be back.
100%. You
We
talked
knew they
for
were
so
coming back.
long just to be like, you're coming back. Like, duh,
We knew
duh.
that.
If you were not coming back relatively quickly, you would have been written off television. We're not stupid.
Again, here we go with we know it's scripted
Right,
at the end of the day.
right.
So yeah. So this I know Undertaker, Daddy Undertaker wouldn't hurt me. He wouldn't let me
No,
down.
this
I
story
know
is
this
so
is
good.
gonna be
I
crazy.
can't even deal. I love it. Next we have one more match because like, why not? It's Jim the
Sure.
Anvil Neidhart taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin. From the rip, the Hart Foundation is just ever present.
Yep.
Like, they're immediately the match, ding ding, Hart Foundation.
Yep.
Here they are.
Yep.
Pillman joins commentary. Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah.
he's asked about the King of the Ring, and essentially he's like, "Oh, I'll be ready for the King of the Ring." Essentially addressing Steve Austin. And then he goes to Jerry. He's like, you know what payback is, right? And he's like, it's a bitch. It's like referring to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you're like, okay, I get it. Like, let's see it though. Like, I'm
Mhm.
a whole lot of yak yak yak, not a lot of doing.
Yeah.
I love this. At one point during the very brief match, Stone Cold literally he knocks like Jim the Anvil Knight outside of the ring in front of the announce tables. He runs over to Pillman just to yank his ass over the table and knock him on the floor. Like
Which is great. And he yanked him over the table and he didn't really have to because he was kind of sitting on the side of the
on the
table.
side, didn't need
And
to
he
do
was like,
that.
"No, I'm gonna pull you over the table just to
Hmm.
embarrass you." And in the 4 seconds he had between beating up Jim
Hmm.
and whatever, he literally was like, "Hold on." Like
Right.
yeet them over the table. Love.
I
Love
love
it.
that. I love what I love about Stone Cold is he always gets his licks in.
He's an opportunist. And he said that he goes, again, they had their back turned. I seize the opportunity. He is nothing if not an opportunist against the people he hates, and that's everyone.
Right. And I live for that.
Live,
Live.
love.
Scheming.
He makes me wanna be more petty. Like, he
Right.
makes me be
More
like, "You know what?
observant,
I'm
more.
wasting time actually because they're in those 3 seconds, I could have been like, bah, real
That's what I'm
quick.
saying. 100%. I agree, honestly. He really does make me wanna just, like, really, like, take up revenge, like,
Take up arms." Yeah.
so Pillman, of course, has to get his licks in and comes in and breaks a crutch over Stone Cold Steve Austin's back, like, fully just
Like
shrapnel of
shrapnel. Yes.
like, and then the entire Heart Foundation comes as they do. Shawn Michaels comes in to save the day with a chair. Love to see it. Love to
Mhm.
see it.
He does whack-a-mole style. He just goes bing, bing,
Oh, just
bing,
wailing on all of them.
every last
And
one.
then, as the Heart Foundation is getting cleared out of the ring, it is announced JR literally scurries into the ring and he's like, I just found
Messy.
out from
Messy.
Gorilla Monsoon that the tag team championships will be on the line next week. He's like, the Heart Foundation will take on the team. He's like Stone Cold Steve Austin and like the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And they're both like, this is
They
bullshit.
both look at him and just go, "Bullshit." It was literally like a sitcom moment. It was
Right.
so funny.
And then they just start wailing on each other. Just and that is how the episode ends. It's just the two of them beating the holy hell out of each other. And
I
they're supposed to be on the same team next week. I live for that. I live
love
for
to see
that.
it. Gorilla Monsoon, you messy, messy bitch.
I
You're
love
so
it.
messy for
You met
that. He
he,
was
he,
like,
he was like, you're gonna get other partners?
"Oh my god, no." And he literally
No,
went
no,
like,
no. No, he said
"Pass this to JR. Tell him."
I know, I love that.
Swear.
He's
And JR also, who loves the mess, was like, "I got a
mhm.
breaking news.
Yeah,
Breaking news, y'all.
100%.
Crazy. I love to see it. So messy.
So messy.
So messy. And oh, it's gonna be such a goodie because you have to see the give and take because Stone Cold's not gonna want to tag Heartbreak Kid in
Mhm.
because he never wants to admit that he needs help and he's a loner. And like the give
I
and take
can't
is
wait.
gonna be so good. I can't wait.
Love to see it, love to see it.
Thrilled.
So yeah, so that's how the episode ends. We are left with the two of them just beating the hell out of each other.
And
Love
Bret
to
Hart
see it.
better not do all that talking and make the match short.
That's
It's
what
time to
they had to cut a match this week.
because
We were
he's
supposed to
with
see the return of the
the
Godwins.
Godwins, and we deserved that. We
We
deserve to
deserve
see
that, especially
Hillbilly Jim
after
and the Godwins.
seeing like Henry get his neck snapped. Like
Like 3 times in 3 different angles in slow
that's
motion.
what I'm saying. Like I give me that redemption arc.
I
Uh,
swear.
so this has been another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. As always, thank you for wherever you find, comment, like, subscribe, all those good things. Look out for after. Actually,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna do a little, I guess, lineup change.
Yeah, we technically did the switch up. We just aren't recording it in the order
In
of
the
the switch.
right order,
Technically, the switch up already happened. This is very
right?
inception of us.
So, yeah. So this week, go forward, you will notice that after dark will be our kind of a midweek episode on Thursdays. Just it's a little heavier. It's a little we get into some heavier topics.
Yeah.
So we thought let's do that during the week when you're already dealing with your, your day-to-day life, and let's keep the weekend kind of fun for our little Raw rewatch that we got
Yeah.
going on. So yeah, so we're gonna make that switch, or we've already made that switch. So I guess next week, look out for whatever the After Dark is going to be, yet to be determined.
Yeah, we haven't decided
So
yet. We
thank
love
you.
to just play it fast and loose here.
Yeah, especially in the summer, because I literally love to just be outside at the beach doing literally anything than being
As should
inside.
all of you.
I really, it's really, sometimes I really do be last minute. But thank you all, and we will catch you next time.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.